The Galactic Council had always considered humanity to be peculiar. They were a young species barely 3 centuries into their spacefaring era, yet they possessed an unsettling intensity that made older civilizations uncomfortable. The humans had a saying that puzzled most alien diplomats: "We can forgive many things, but never touch our children." The Zekthar Dominion learned the meaning of those words too late. Ashley Morrison stood in the ruins of what had once been the New Hope Orphanage on Earth's orbital station. Sanctuary 7. Her hands trembled as she held a small stuffed bear, its synthetic fur scorched black from the plasma strike. Around her, emergency crews worked in horrified silence, pulling tiny bodies from the wreckage. 347 children, gone in an instant. Commander Morrison. A voice crackled through her comm unit. It was Alex Chen, her tactical officer aboard the UNSC Retribution. "We've confirmed it." The Zekthar fired deliberately. This wasn't collateral damage. Ashley's jaw clenched. She had spent 5 years negotiating peace treaties, building bridges between species, advocating for diplomatic solutions. She had believed in the Council's vision of a united galaxy. But as she looked at the small bear in her hands, it had belonged to a 6-year-old girl named Maria. Something fundamental broke inside her. "Alex," she said quietly, her voice carrying an edge that made veteran soldiers nearby step back. "Recall every human vessel. Every single one." "Commander, the Council will—" "I don't care what the Council will do," Ashley interrupted. "Send the message on all frequencies. Humanity is going to war." Within hours, the recall order had reached every corner of known space. Human merchant vessels abandoned their routes. Exploration ships turned back from the rim. Colony defense fleets began forming up into battle groups. And from Earth itself, warships that the Council didn't even know existed began emerging from concealed orbital yards. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Thelnox of the Cordian Collective addressed the assembly with barely concealed concern. "The humans are mobilizing their entire military. This is madness. The Zekthar attack was unauthorized, a rogue element. We must negotiate." The holographic display interrupted him, showing Ashley Morrison's face. Her eyes, once warm and diplomatic, now burned with something that made even the battle-hardened Crenarian delegates uncomfortable. "There will be no negotiation," Ashley stated flatly. "The Zekthar Dominion has committed an unforgivable act. They targeted children, non-combatants, in a deliberate strike. As of this moment, humanity considers itself at war with the Zekthar Dominion, and any species that offers them shelter or support." "Commander Morrison." "Please," Thelnox began. "We gave you the stars," Ashley continued, her voice rising. "We shared our technology, our culture, our music and art. We opened our worlds to refugees from a dozen conflicts. We built hospitals on dying planets, and you let them murder our children." The transmission cut out. Alex Chen stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching as the human fleet assembled. It was massive, far larger than any alien intelligence service had estimated. Humanity had learned early that the galaxy was dangerous, and they had prepared accordingly while smiling diplomatically. "Tactical analysis complete," reported Lieutenant Kozlov. "The Zekthar home system has 17 defensive platforms, 400 capital ships, and planetary shield generators rated for Class 5 bombardment." "Not enough," Alex said simply. He had known Ashley for 12 years, had served with her through the border wars and the Sigma incident. He had never seen her like this. None of them had seen humanity like this. The human fleet didn't advance slowly or cautiously. They burned through hyperspace at speeds that should have torn their ships apart, using experimental drives that bypassed every safety protocol. When they emerged at the edge of Zekthar space, they didn't hail or demand surrender. They simply opened fire. The Zekthar defenders had faced many opponents in their 1,000-year history. They were a warrior culture, proud and fierce. But they had never encountered anything like human warfare unleashed without restraint. Human ships didn't retreat when damaged. They rammed. When weapons depleted, they used the ships themselves as kinetic weapons. Fighter pilots ejected at the last second, their craft becoming missiles. And every transmission from the human fleet carried the same message. "For Sanctuary 7, for the children." Admiral Kreshitar of the Zekthar Defense Fleet watched in growing horror as his formations were shattered. "They fight like demons," he whispered to his second. "They don't care about losses. They just keep coming. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Commander Morrison." Ashley's face appeared on the screen. Behind her, Alex Chen and the bridge crew worked with mechanical efficiency. "Admiral Kreshitar, your government murdered 347 children. We are not here for territory. We are not here for resources. We are here for one reason only." She leaned forward. And Kreshitar felt genuine fear for the first time in his military career. "We are here to teach the galaxy a lesson it will never forget. Humanity protects its young. And when you harm our children, we don't send diplomats or sanctions or strongly worded letters. We send everything we have, and we don't stop until the threat is ash." The Battle of Zekthar Prime lasted 6 days. By the end, the Zekthar Dominion had ceased to exist as a political entity. Their worlds were occupied, their government dissolved, and every individual involved in the attack on Sanctuary 7 was tried before the Galactic Council for crimes against sapient life. But the real impact was felt across the galaxy. Every species that had dismissed humanity as soft, as overly emotional, as weak because of their empathy, they all learned the same lesson. Humans loved deeply. They built hospitals and schools and orphanages across the stars. They wrote poetry and created art and extended hands in friendship, but harm their children, and they would show you what a species born on a death world was truly capable of. Ashley Morrison never returned to diplomatic service. She remained a military commander, a living reminder of what happened when humanity's better nature was pushed aside. And on her desk, in a place of honor, sat a small scorched bear, a memorial, a warning, a promise humanity would always protect its own.